The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has said he is seeking arrest warrants for senior Hamas and Israeli officials for war crimes and crimes against humanity, including the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister Yoav Gallant. A move that puts the post-Second World War rules-based order to the test and presents new challenges for Israel's Western allies. Karim Khan said on Monday his office had applied to the World Court's pre-trial chamber for arrest warrants for the military and political leaders on both sides for crimes committed during Hamas' the 7th of October attack and the ensuing war in Gaza. He named Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas chief in the Gaza Strip, and Mohammed Deif, the commander of its military wing, considered to be the masterminds of the 7th of October assault, as well as Ismail Haniyeh, the leader of the group's political bureau, who is based in Qatar, as wanted for crimes of extermination, murder, hostage-taking, rape, sexual assault and torture. Netanyahu and Gallant are accused of extermination, causing starvation as a method of war, the denial of humanitarian relief supplies, and deliberately targeting civilians. Monday's statement notably does not include any Israel Defense Forces (IDF) officials, such as its chief of staff, Lt-Gen Herzi Halevi, focusing instead on political decision-making. The ICC has previously issued warrants for Russia's Vladimir Putin, Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, the Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony, and Omar al-Bashir, the former president of Sudan. But no leader of a Western-style democracy has ever been issued a warrant. The court has moved remarkably quickly, by its usual standards, to request warrants within 8 months. The case against Putin over his invasion of Ukraine took a year to build. The world was shocked on the 7th of October when people were ripped from their homes, from their bedrooms in different kibbutzim. People have suffered enormously, Khan told CNN on Monday. We have a variety of evidence to support the applications we've submitted to the judges. These acts demand accountability, Khan's office said in a statement. The world's top court decided in 2021 that it had a mandate to investigate violence and war crimes committed by Israel and Palestinian factions in events dating back to 2014. Although Israel is not a member of the court and does not recognize its authority, Israel's establishment, and much of the public, have long maintained that the UN and associated bodies are biased against the Jewish state. Khan visited the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing into Gaza in late October, and Israel and the West Bank in December, and had made clear that the scope of his office's investigation would be expanded to include the 7th of October and its aftermath. The chief prosecutor said at the end of last year that the case was moving forward at pace, with rigor. Last month, Netanyahu was publicly panic-stricken by the prospect of an ICC prosecution and reportedly appealed to his ally Joe Biden, the U.S. president, to intervene in any potential international legal action against Israel. The ICC investigation into Palestine was opposed by the US and UK before it opened in 2021, and both states have supported Israel's right to defend itself, even as the scale of death and destruction in Gaza has led to protests and political fallout at home. A UK government spokesperson said on Monday that London does not believe that seeking warrants will help get hostages out, get aid in, or deliver a sustainable ceasefire. Khan, the British ICC prosecutor, must request the warrants for the Hamas and Israeli suspects from a pre-trial panel of 3 judges, who take on average 2 months to consider the evidence and determine if the proceedings can move forward. Daniel McCover, a co-founder of Lawyers for Palestinian Human Rights, said This is massive news, albeit the wait to get to this point has been too long. The rule of law must now be upheld. The list of potential Israeli defendants is insufficient, and the international crimes associated with settlements in the West Bank are notably absent, but hopefully the ICC chamber will grant the application as soon as possible, and more charges and defendants will be added. While not a single life has yet been saved or injury prevented through the application of the rule of criminal law, let's hope for a deterrent effect from now. Condemnation of Khan's decision from across the Israeli political spectrum was swift. Benny Gantz, a former military chief and member of Israel's war cabinet alongside Netanyahu and Gallant, criticized the ICC's announcement, saying Israel fought with one of the strictest moral codes and had a robust judiciary capable of investigating itself. The Israeli opposition leader, Yair Lapid, called the ICC's actions a disaster. Hamas, too, was critical. The ICC prosecutor's decision equates the victim with the executioner, the senior Hamas official Sami Abu Zuhri told Reuters. Israel's foreign minister, Israel Katz, said the chief prosecutor's decision was a historic disgrace that will be remembered forever, and a special committee would be formed to fight back and work with world leaders to ensure that any such warrants were not enforced on Israel's leadership. While there is no imminent likelihood of prosecution, ICC warrants could put Israeli officials at risk of arrest in other countries, further deepening the country's growing international isolation over its conduct in the war in Gaza. About 200 people, mostly civilians, were killed on the 7th of October, and about 35,000 people have been killed in the war in Gaza, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry, which does not differentiate between civilian and combatant deaths. Khan made clear he was aware of the historical weight and potential ramifications of his unprecedented decision in a lengthy statement at The Hague on Monday. If we do not demonstrate our willingness to apply the law equally, if it is seen as being applied selectively, we will be creating the conditions for its collapse, he said. Now, more than ever, we must collectively demonstrate that international humanitarian law, the foundational baseline for human conduct during conflict, applies to all individuals and applies equally across the situations addressed by my office on the court. This is how we will prove tangibly that the lives of all human beings have equal value. Israel is facing 2 other major international legal cases over its treatment of Palestinians. In December, South Africa filed a case against Israel at the International Court of Justice (ICJ), alleging that its actions in Gaza breached the UN's Genocide Convention, set up in 1948 in the aftermath of the Holocaust. Israel denies those charges. The ICJ only hears cases between states, so it has no jurisdiction over Hamas. In 2022, a UN General Assembly resolution requested an advisory opinion from the ICJ on the legal consequences arising from the policies and practices of Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory, a move seen as important because while various UN bodies have found that aspects of the occupation are illegal, there has never been a judgment on whether the occupation itself, now in its 56th year, either is or has become unlawful.